Great, so welcome everybody. Those of you live, if you do have any questions throughout the practice, then feel free to type into the chat, or if you're happy to be on the recording, you could unmute yourself and ask a question. So I've asked you to gather today a couple of blankets. I think I said 2 or 3 blankets or towels, and then a couple of your bed pillows, or last week we used the back of the sofa cushion. If you've got a sturdy back of the sofa cushion like we used last week, then feel free to use that instead as well. And those of you that aren't comfortable sitting on the ground, there'll be a short part of the sequence sitting on the floor on a pillow or a blanket. If that's inaccessible today for you, then use a chair. So you could use your armchair or a dining room chair. And I'm going to invite you to come and lie down to start your practice today. So make sure that you're comfortable and warm. I'm going to suggest you lie on your back in a fairly sort of vanilla flavored Shavasana, meaning that we don't add too much to it, but please do add what you need to be comfortable. So that might be one of your bed pillows underneath your head. That might be a blanket over the top of you. And if it's comfortable for you, then extend your legs out so your legs are straight, or you might rest your legs over one of your pillows, but fairly neutral lying posture. And I'll just leave you for a moment to arrive and get settled. And as always, as you begin your practice this morning, I just remind you to work within your own realm of comfort. What I'm guiding you to do is all just suggestions. So I don't know how it feels in your body. And where we're not meeting in person at the moment, there isn't so much opportunity for checking in with you all individually. So we're all going to be at different stages and different energy levels, different wellness. So I'd really like you to make this your own and do what feels right for you today. And as you lay yourself down on your ground, then you are welcome to close your eyes or keep your eyes open for this welcoming in. So if it's comfortable, you might even just rest your arms down by your side, with the eyes softly gazing or closed completely. Simply giving yourself this time to arrive this morning. Arriving lying on your back, you're just joining in a fairly vanilla flavored Shavasana. And of course, throughout this little inquiry, if you need to add anything at all to make your body more comfortable, then please do. And as you connect into your experience here, the beginning of your practice, take this time as a review. So review where you're at today and how you feel. A little bit like that you are here sticker on an adventure or a nature land map. So where are you as you begin your practice today? And how about just starting to tune in as you lie down on your left side? Tune into the whole left side of your body as you feel where the left arm rests, the left leg rests. As if somebody's drawn a line down through the center of your body and you're just sensing into the left side to begin with. How does that feel? Does it feel easy to connect into that side? Feel numb or inaccessible right now? And then leave that be and connect into your right side of your body. the right side of the back of the head, the right shoulder blade, the right arm where it lies on the floor, the right side of the torso, the right pelvic half, and then your right leg and your right foot, where that rests on the ground. Feeling the whole right side of your body, from the center out into the periphery. And now feeling the whole body as it rests in this lying posture. And just noticing as you reviewed your left and your right side, whether they felt similar, different, indifferent. Now I welcome you to check in with your energy layer of your being right now. So how is your energy level this morning? You feel like you're full of beans? You feel very tired and heavy? How is your energy this morning as you arrive? And as you check in with yourself, notice, what is your ability for presence? How easy is it for you today to check in and be present with what is? Is there distraction or restlessness occurring? Does it feel easy to become engaged and focused? And as you consciously withdraw your attention from the external realm and towards the internal realm, I invite you to set an intention for our practice together today. And my suggested intention is to make inner harmony our greatest priority. Making inner harmony my greatest priority. And with that, finding balance, bringing balance to the layers of our being, particularly at this time of change in season. We're transitioning into shorter days, colder climate. And quite often in this initial inquiry and check-in with ourselves, there is a tendency for the mind to be drawn to any imbalances in the body. Noticing if that is the case for you, and if it is, just simply taking this as information, no good or bad. So sensing into this information, whether it feels imbalanced or balanced, as information. And noticing if there are imbalances presenting themselves to you right now, where are they in the body? Does it feel a mental imbalance? Does it feel energetic? Does it feel physical? Is there tension or discomfort? So taking this simply as information. And how about any areas within your experience that feel in harmony as you begin today? Any areas that feel at ease? I invite you just to ask yourself this question: what do I need for balance to occur? What do I need for balance to occur? That might be a question for your whole life right now, might be just with your body, or maybe it's just in this moment. What do I need to bring balance, or for balance to occur? Just notice what arises from that question. Nice. Letting that go, and I invite you now to just bend your knees if they're lengthened away from you, so that your feet come onto the floor and your knees are bent, and you can play around with the distance your feet rest in relation to your pelvis, so that the legs are as effortless as possible. And just bringing the hands in front of the chest and rubbing the hands together to generate some heat and some energy. Rubbing the hands together and then placing the hands on the face, on the forehead. Just having a little self-care moment as you bring the heat and the energy of the hands to the face. And then once more, rubbing the hands back together. And placing your left hand on your chest, your right hand on your belly, and can just rub in circles. I just rub in opposite circles. It feels easier for my brain to do the movement. You can do whatever feels accessible to you. Just giving that energy, that heat into the chest and the belly, and then slowly bringing those circles to a close and coming to stillness. And just being present here briefly with the sense of touch of your hands on your chest and on your belly. And you can leave your hands where they are. If you'd like, you could move the hands into any other part of your body that feels that it could do with a bit of soothing touch, or you could rest your hands back down by your side. How might it be to invite the breathing body into your awareness here? The natural ebb and flow of the natural breath. And tune into how the breath feels, the natural breath feels with you right now. And particularly noticing the texture and the rhythm of your breath. How is the texture to begin with? Does it feel soft and smooth? Does it feel a little rough? And how might it be to bring an attitude of non-judgment to your experience? Just allowing your breath to be how it needs to be right now. How about the rhythm of your breath? Feel fast or slow? And you might be comfortable just simply resting here with your natural breath. Noticing how the natural breath evolves and changes the longer that you leave it alone. Or you might like to explore equal breath, so Samavriti breath, which is when we consciously bring the inhalation and the exhalation to the same length. And I encourage you to not strain the breath in any way. So you might simply notice the length of your inhale to begin with. Might be 2 or 3 counts. And then exhaling for the same duration. So if the inhale is 2 counts, then the exhale becomes 2 counts. Of course, if at any time this feels strained or outside your comfort realm, then just return back to natural breathing. But otherwise, just staying focused on this intention of bringing the inhalation and the exhalation to the same duration. You could explore breathing in and out of the nose or the mouth. Or might it be to bring a quality of smoothness to your breath? So that as the inhale and exhale equalize, there is a smoothness, a silkiness to your breath. And as the layers of your being quieten and respond to this presence and this focus, perhaps the breath gradually slows, maybe deepens slightly. And it's up to you whether you count the length of the inhalation and the exhalation, or if you just allow this equalizing breath to evolve and to find its own rhythms. There's a intuition behind the length of the breath. The mind is particularly in turmoil this morning, then counting the breath can be helpful. Begin the taming and the quietening. Or might it be to only bring the breath and the texture and length of the breath as your focal point, so letting everything else drop away. And perhaps just taking a couple more equal breaths. And once you let that practice go, just returning to your natural breathing rhythm, which is likely to be unequal. And just noticing, reviewing once more how you feel, and just reflecting on whether there is any sense of moving towards a sense of balance or centeredness. And that's going to be a very individual sense. I won't go into that too much, but noticing whether there's been any changes that's occurred since you first laid down on your back. No judgment, just a reflection. And then if the arms are resting on your body, then resting them down by your side. And starting to sense into your lower back and its relationship to the ground. And then your relationship between your lower back and your pelvis. Directing a gentle attention down into that part of your body. Just reflecting on whether the pelvis and the lower back feel neutral. Do they feel in balance with one another? And starting to tilt the pelvis forward so that you're overarching your lower back. So bringing your lower back away from the floor
And then tilting your pelvis backwards and flattening your lower back to the floor. So anteriorly tilting the pelvis forward, posteriorly tilting the pelvis backwards, and arching and flattening your lower spine. So I'm going to do the movement fairly exaggerated so you get a bit of a visual, but I encourage you actually to do the movement quite subtly, that you can really tune in to how this movement changes the relationship between your lower back and the floor, and changes the relationship between your lower back and your pelvis. And just to add a little more challenge to the focus of this movement, I'd like you also to sense into whether the weight feels equally distributed between your left and your right pelvic half. So as you rock forwards and backwards, does it feel as if you've got the equal weight on the left and on the right side, or does it feel that there is one side with a little bit more weight than the other? Just taking this as information. Nothing final here. And then bringing that pelvic motion to stillness. And just taking a brief pause back into your constructive rest, your still constructive rest position. And simply sensing into how that movement has affected this posture now that you're in stillness. Does it feel different in the area of your lower back? Does your lower back have a different relationship between itself and the floor? And then how about the sensation between the pelvis and the spine, the lower back? How does that feel after that subtle, simple movement? And then when you're ready, sliding your left leg away from you so that your left leg is just relaxed on the floor and your right knee is bent and your foot is on the floor. So can you completely relax your left leg? And then there's some alertness through the right leg to keep this posture. Now starting to gently press down through your right foot so that you're indenting your right foot and into your mat or into the floor. And allowing the right knee to still stay pointing up towards the ceiling, but you just to let the pelvis rock. So as you put pressure down through the right foot, you allow the pelvis to rock and to create a little bit of a spiral through your spine. Just lift my arms so that you can see. Now I am slightly over exaggerating the movement, but I might be doing something a little smaller if that feels more comfortable and in harmony with your body. You start by noticing the strength and the energy through your right leg as that effort transitions its way from the right foot all the way up through the knee and the hip. How energized does your right leg feel in this movement? Does it feel a bit tired or shaky or weak? Does it indicate that it needs to rest? If that's the case, then rest and be still for a moment. Does the leg feel strong and stable? And how about the pelvis and the lower back? Does it feel fairly free to move in this exercise? Is there any restriction or tightness or pain doing this movement? And if there is pain, then how might you do the movement so there isn't any pain? And that might be that you do very minute pressing and releasing. Now perhaps just taking one more. And then in your own time, sliding your right leg away from you. So just resting back into vanilla Shavasana again. And using this time to really sense into your right side of your body. That imaginary line through the center line of the body, only feeling into the right side. How does that right side feel after that asymmetrical movement? Sensing into the perhaps more subtle sensations arising, maybe feeling of vibration or heat, or perhaps just a general sense of energizing. And then compare your right side to your left side, noticing the difference between the two of the sides. So really for us to sense into balance in our body, we really do need to know what imbalance feels like. So how do the two sides feel in relationship to one another? Thich Nhat Hanh, a really well-known meditation teacher and Buddhist practitioner, a monk, he says, no mud, no lotus. No mud, no lotus. I just love the simplicity of. So can you feel where the imbalance is for us to then notice where balance is? So on that note, let's bend the left knee up and place the left foot on the floor, right leg completely relaxed on the ground. Starting small as you start to press down through the left foot, engaging the left leg, a small amount of pressure and release. Could you turn on the effort gradually? Turn off the effort gradually. Allow the pelvis to rock, to move with the press and release. And the pelvic might rock very subtly, or it might rock all the way over so the weight is coming onto the right side. But the intention is to keep the left knee fairly stably pointing up. There will be some movement through the left knee, but not letting the whole knee drop to the side. And some alertness through that left leg. And again, reviewing how the energy feels through the left leg. Does it feel strong and stable? Does it feel tired? Maybe it feels shaky today or weak today. In which case, use that as an indicator as to how much effort to put into this. And how does the lower back feel in this movement and the pelvis feel? As we invite a spiraling, rotating action through the spine. Does the spine feel fairly fluid and movable today, or does it feel a little restricted? And you might reflect back to how this movement felt on your right side. Personally, for me, the imbalance in my left hip, which I've had for a long time now, really presents itself in this movement. And it encourages me to just do a little less movement. So how can I do this movement without triggering a bit of a flare up on that left hip? If you have any imbalances presenting themselves to you, how could you do the movement to feel more balanced? Good. And then just when you're ready, sliding the left leg away again and returning back to asymmetry so that the legs are equally distanced away from the midline of the body. Same with the arms. First of all, just noticing the left side. The left side we've just been working on. The left leg, left pelvic half, the left side of the torso and the left arm and shoulder. And once you've really got a good picture, a good snapshot of the left side, broaden your awareness to encompass your right side as well. Feel both the left and the right side. Feel with the imaginary line drawn through the body so that you can sense any differences between the two. And now that you have practiced on both sides, so they feel a little more in balance with one another. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. Taking it as information. But even if there is a small step towards a sense of balance, might not be that the balance is completely found, but there might be some changes that are moving towards balance. Now drawing both knees to bend, having the feet on the floor, but this time having the heels fairly close underneath the knees so they're not far away from the pelvis like we might be in constructive rest. And this time, with the palms facing down towards the floor, pressing both feet into the floor and flattening the lower back to the ground. Both feet are pressing down, flattening the lower back to the floor, so we're tucking the tail as if we're reaching it towards the heel. You might just do that a couple of times, rolling to flatten the spine and then releasing back to its neutral curve. And at some point, you may like to press down through the feet a little more to float the lower spine off the floor, the lower spine, before gently replacing it to the ground. As you press through both feet, could you do so with equal pressure? So the left and the right side are both working in harmony together. And it's really down to you how many of these bridges, these moving bridges you take, and also how high you come in your bridge posture. So I'm just going to take a couple more. You may be coming into rest now, or you might be continuing on also. Staying present with the balance in your body between the left and the right side, but also the balance energetically. So is this movement bringing more harmony to my inner state or less harmony? And using that as a continual gauge as to how much or how little to do through your practice today. Good. And after those bridge roll-ups, you may like to just bring one leg at a time in towards the body. Do whatever you feel is serving for you here. You might take a very small rock from side to side. You might lift the head towards the knees. You might simply just rest with the knees drawn up into the body, either with the hands guiding the legs or without the hands. And in your own time, starting to transition your way off of the ground. You might like to slide onto your roll onto your side as your transition. So those of you comfortable sitting on the floor for a short while, come and use a pillow or a blanket and place it underneath your sit bones. And if sitting on the floor isn't comfortable for you today, then please do use a chair. And if you're coming into your chair, just have your feet in parallel, your heels underneath the knees. You're on the floor. I'm not going to mirror you today, so I'm just going to extend the left leg out and suggest you extend your left leg out as well. And bending your right knee in. Now, if the right knee isn't comfortable as is, then you might place a cushion or a blanket underneath it. And it really doesn't matter how far or close the heel is to the body. Making sure that you're comfortable. And we are asymmetrical here, so our sit bones will likely feel different. But could we bring as much balance between the left and the right side as possible? I'm going to have my hands on my thighs for a bit more stability here, so you can do what feels right for you. And starting to move towards the left side, just taking little circles around the pelvis. Actually, sorry, before we come into movement, I'd like you just to check in and to imagine a rod that goes from the very base of the pelvis, the perineum, and moves all the way through the center of the pelvis, the torso, the neck, the head, and comes out through the crown of your head. So you might even sense it or imagine a central column running through from the crown to the perineum. And then as you start your circles, you could sense that you're moving around that central column. So they might be small circles, they might be big circles, it doesn't matter. Staying stable in your base, stable in your pelvis, in your sit bones. Or maybe just taking one more before coming back to neutral. I'm just keeping a little bit of activation through my left leg to keep me a bit more stable. If it's completely floppy, that kind of influences my whole spine. So a little bit of activation through that left leg so that the spine is nice and elongated. And from that elongation, if you add or invite a very subtle sway. And for me, this motion makes me feel like a tree. And it's a lovely time of year to reflect on an image of a tree with all these beautiful changing colours. And just notice what happens to the head as you sway from side to side. The rib cage, allow the movement to happen organically. You sway away from the left side to the right side. And then at some point, I invite you to come onto the left side. You might just drape the left arm on the leg or on the floor behind you. And just coming a little lateral bend to begin with. You might take the hand to the hip, right hand to the hip. You might start to lift the right elbow. Tuning into the sense of harmony. If there is inharmony happening, disharmony, then change the position, change the movement. You might add the arm, might just be a really soft lifted arm, might be an extended lifted arm. Do what feels within your realm of comfort today. And your breath is a fantastic indicator as to whether there is balance in the layers of the body. If the breath becomes strained, then it might be that you're going a little too far or a little too long. And when you feel ready to come out, dropping the arm first and slowly transitioning back to neutral. And just bringing the legs to asymmetry. That could be in any way, but I'm just going to do the quickest, easiest. And just noticing what you notice. Try not to use the arms too much so the shoulders can relax. You might notice the difference between the two sides of the waist here. I definitely can feel some sensation down my right side that we've been lengthening there. And then coming onto your right extended side. So just a reminder, I'm using this cushion or blanket behind me just to sit the sit bones on to encourage the lower back to be elongated. So when we sit on the floor, quite often there is a shortening or a slumping of the lower back. So just having the sit bones just on the edge of that blanket or pillow helps pivot the pelvis and keep that elongation through the lower back. So once you're onto the next side, you can feel the sit bones grounding, the lower body stable, and starting your tree-like sway. And of course, I mean, you're following, so there's an amount of engagement needed from the mind, but could you really bring your attention to the sensation of this movement in your body? Where do you feel lengthening? Where do you feel shortening? Where do you feel harmony? And where do you feel imbalance? And if there is strain or any pain, then please do adjust the movement. So connecting into that lovely fluid body, flowing body as you sway. And then at some point you can lower the right arm onto the leg or towards the floor, taking a gentle side bend. So as I side bend, I'm grounding the left sit bone, the left side of the pelvis towards the floor. Keep the arm down, that might be enough of a sensation. Or you could start to raise the elbow up towards the ceiling. Feeling that length from the side body into the hip. Maybe the arm lifts, maybe it doesn't. It could be just a really small lift of the arm. It could be a full elongation. Doesn't matter. Finding what feels like moving towards your balance. And do come out at any time before I come out. When you do come out, lower the arm first and let the weight of the arm bring the rest of the body up. Something I forgot to do on the other side, actually. Let's do it on this side first, and then we can come back to the second side. From this open posture, taking your hands forward and keeping that elongation through the lower back. You might even come up onto spider fingers if coming forwards is too strong in the inner groin. Maintaining that length through the lumbar spine, through the whole spine. And maybe just crawling slowly forwards to get a little bit of a forward fold. And you might return back to your Samavri tea breath, your equal breathing, inhaling for the same duration as your exhale. And coming up whenever you feel ready, or you might hold this for another breath or two before returning upright. Coming into symmetry, that could be legs extended away, that could be knees bent on the floor. And just taking a moment to review and to check in. So it's always good to find symmetry after asymmetry. And just notice as you come into asymmetry, whether there is a sense of feeling centered or feeling balanced. You might reimagine or resense into that central rod through from the crown of the head down through the center of the base of the pelvis. And because I forgot, let's return back to this left side, finding the elongation through the spine first before taking the hands to the floor. Now, you'll probably notice as you become more refined with your awareness, you'll probably notice a bit of weight bringing off center here. So just try and stay tuned into that distribution of weight.
And you can even use your hands here. So for me, I can feel my left hip sort of rolling forwards and less weight on my left hip bone. I'm just going to gently press a little further with my left hand to bring more of that weight into the left hip bone. That just creates a lovely stable base beneath us. Full of equal breath here if you'd like to. Staying for as long as you would like or as little as you'd like before you crawl your way back. So I'm going to suggest that we come into a fairly active child's pose. Now this posture isn't suitable for everybody because we take the weight onto our knees and our hips. So I'll give a variation, but if you know that this isn't suitable for you, if you're in your chair, you could take a forward bend over the thighs. You could do that here. You could just hug the legs in and round the spine, or you could lie on your back and draw the knees in, like we did earlier. But if you are comfortable coming into a child's pose, taking both of your cushions, or if you've got your firmer sofa cushion, that will be suitable here too. And I'm just going to take my knees underneath my hips here. So a variation so that you're not bringing the weight onto the knees and the hips could be to keep the bottom lifted up into the air as you slide the hands forward. And you might lose a bit of audio here as I drop my head. Or the knees might be underneath the hips, sliding the hands forward. Now, this posture may not be suitable for all, particularly if you've recently had a surgery. So be mindful here. If raising the arms this high doesn't feel suitable, then you can visit this posture either with the hands down or with the hands down by your feet. So take care there. If you are extending the arms forwards, you could rest the forehead on the pillow. And you might be comfortable here for a couple more breaths. Or you could explore bringing the hands into Anjali Mudra, into a prayer posture, with the elbows about shoulder width apart. And again, resting the forehead on the pillow. This posture can be done in a child's pose with the hips down towards the heels, or with the hips lifted. Be there for as long or as little as you would, as feels possible or comfortable. And when it's time to come up, you can just reverse the way that you came. And just one last thing for those of you coming into this upward posture. If you're lying on your back, then you might just lie in a constructive rest position. If you're still up and you'd like a little spinal extension, then you could bring your weight forward and maybe just take a little look first before you come into it, just to check whether it's suitable for you today. And sliding the elbows underneath you, coming into a small little uppy posture. So the cushions are underneath the pelvis and the elbows are underneath the shoulders. Now again, this may not be suitable if there's any recovery happening in the shoulders or the chest. You just take care, harder not being together in a room, to check in with you all individually. And you can stay here into this up happy posture for a couple of breaths, or you could lie yourself down into a prone posture. Now, if that puts any pressure in an area that doesn't feel suitable today, like the abdomen or the chest, then do adapt the movement or don't do it. And I leave you people upwards or in the prone posture to come out when you feel ready to. And those of you that that's not suitable for, and if you're lying on your back and you've done your Uttanasana, if you would like a little bit more of a spinal extension, you could explore coming back into the moving bridge posture. You might even explore taking the arms over the head if that doesn't feel unstable. But that's just an addition, if you'd like it. Taking the arms back down to the floor before replacing the spine and the pelvis. Good. So it's quite likely that we're all going to be doing something slightly different. So I'll just leave you for a few more seconds to finish up what you're doing. If you're on your front, then start to make your way out. You might like to revisit a child's pose again before coming out. And if you're on your back, then finishing up what you're doing with the bridge pose or with the Uttanasana. Good. So I'd really like to take the time today to do an extended relaxation. We missed our seated meditation today so that we could focus more on a final resting meditation. So you might like to just come into a normal Shavasana, and that's absolutely fine. But I'm going to suggest setting yourself up in a supported posture, supported spinal posture with your 2 blankets. So I've just folded mine in a nice long shape. And then I'm going to place it down on my feet end of the mat is this way and my head end of the mat is this way. I'm going to fold my blanket not quite in half, so it's got a ridge. And it's about one of my hand spans, I don't know if you can see that, hand spans from the lower layer to the upper layer of that first layer. It's starting long, and it's about, doesn't really matter the width. Any too narrow will feel perhaps a little strong on the shoulders. So yeah, if it's any narrower than your finger width, then maybe refold it so it's a little wider. And then if you've got another blanket there, we're going to do the same, but this time staggering the top blanket slightly. So there's a little stagger between the lower blanket first layer and the upper blanket first layer, and then folding it in half, or not quite in half, once more. So hopefully you can see that I've got 3 different layers happening here. And this top fold is pretty much the same level as the lower fold. And if you've got if you've got a third blanket or towel, you might like to have that for an extra head support, or you might like that for the eyes. So I suggested bringing a scarf or a belt today, and that we actually ran out of time to do what I had planned to do with it. But if you've got a scarf, you might like to use that for covering the eyes, so that you can sink into a lovely held rest. So I'm going to sit my bottom on the mat or on the floor. So I'm not actually sitting on the blanket at all. And then if you've got your 2 sofa cushions or bed pillows, you can place them underneath your knees, like so. I'm going to lie myself back nice and slowly. And hopefully those lovely staggered layers will be supporting the different parts of the spine. Now, for me, I've noticed that there's a little bit of the ridge is a little bit higher up than feels comfortable. So I'm just going to pull that top ridge down slightly, so that it's more in line with my lower rib cage. You can have a little faff and play around with that yourselves. You can get really quite fussy with finding that harmony, finding that lovely aha moment. And then with the head, once you're lying down,
on those supports. With your head, you could take the top layer. Mine's actually probably not quite long enough to do this. So I'm going to take my hands underneath the blanket or blankets. You could do both together or just the top one. I'm going to really reach it into the nook of my neck. Oh, that feels so lovely. And then you can tuck the top corners under if you'd like, add a little bit more height to the back of the head. If you've got your scarf, then you could place that over the eyes. And the arms can go wherever feels comfortable. They could be out to the side, be on the body. Make sure that you are nice and warm. So have a blanket on top of you. So making any adjustments to make this posture more comfortable and more serving for you today. So in this lovely supported Shavasana shape, know that you can move at any time you need to. And in today's Yoga Nidra practice, we're going to explore opposite qualities, opposites in the body, to find a sense of balance and harmony. To develop a sense of center, and also to connect into the very ground of awareness itself, the very essence of our nature. Softening the eyelids if that feels comfortable for you today. Softening the jaw. Maybe taking a nice sigh out of the mouth to really arrive in this supported rest. Bringing a soft and gentle attention to the mouth. Checking that the jaw isn't clenched. Feeling into the mouth as you exchange thinking for sensing and feeling. Softening the tongue. Softening the throat. Sliding your attention to your ears now. As you sense your ability to hear any sounds within your space. Any sounds in the distance. Notice how they just arise and dissolve in your field of awareness. Just like my voice. Sometimes there, sometimes not. And gradually honing your attention in so that you just hear the sounds of your body or close to your body. Might be the sound of your breathing. Might be sounds within your body. Not clinging or attaching to any, letting them come and go. And now sensing the nose, shape of your nose on your face.
You feel how the air enters and leaves your nostrils with each breath. Be curious. The left nostril clearer than the right, or the right nostril clearer than the left. Doesn't matter, but just noticing what you notice. Noticing if the air changes temperature as it leaves the body. Gently flowing your attention to your eyes as they rest in their sockets. This intention to turn away from external views and images, resting that part of the mind so that there is an inner gaze, an inner sensing, so the eyes can rest and fall asleep. And feeling how your body contacts the ground and the support beneath it. And you really sense those points of contact where your body meets the support. And you sense your skin and the skin moving as you breathe, breath reaching every pore. Whole body aware, awake. In this Yoga Nidra practice, our intention is continued from our practice of making inner harmony our greatest priority today. Inner harmony, our greatest priority. And ways in which we bring balance. And of course, you may have an individual intention that you've weaved in, a quality that feels beneficial to help bring you towards balance today. Simply noticing what bubbles up and letting it go. And for this practice today, it may feel soothing or supportive to have an inner resource with you. An inner resource is an image or a person or a memory that brings comfort, brings a sense of ease. So briefly reflecting on your own personal inner resource for this practice. It might be a place in nature that you feel connected to, that you feel peaceful in, imagined or memorized. It might be a beloved person that you feel safe and stable when with. or a lovely pet that grounds you. You don't need to spend too long on it, just allow whatever bubbles up to come and just being there with your inner resource for a moment. As you bring that image or that imagined person to mind, being present with how it feels to have them there with you. And knowing that you can return to this resource throughout any part of the practice or even any part of your day. And for now, letting that go, but remembering that it's just there in the background, ready to be present with you again when you need it. Bringing a very kind, gentle attention to your right palm, wherever it rests. Feel your right palm. Feel the shape of your right palm. Feel the temperature. And gently gliding your attention over to your left palm being the only thing in your attention. The left palm's temperature and shape. And now including both right and left palm in your attention now. And both your left and right palm just be present within your broad field of awareness. And feeling now the hardness of your left knee. You sense the quality of hardness in your left knee. Sensing into the bones and the quality of hardness in your bones of your left knee. And exchanging over to the right knee, the hardness of the right knee. So that all that remains in your awareness is the quality of hardness in your right knee. And then including both your left and your right knee in your awareness, without gripping in the mind or even watching from the head, simply being with the sensation of hardness in your left and your right knee. Now feeling into your whole right arm, from your shoulder blade all the way through the shoulder, the upper arm, the elbow, the forearm and the hand. Feeling the whole of the right arm, and can you sense the weight of your right arm? Does it feel heavy? Does it feel light? Whole right arm. And how about the left arm? The whole of the left arm, from the shoulder blade, the whole shoulder, upper arm, the lower arm, the hand, fingers, the weight of the left arm. And can you allow both the right and the left arm to be present in your field of awareness? And I am continually changing the quality that we are resting with throughout the practice. And the reason behind this is to keep the mind interested and engaged. Feeling any sense of softness through the left sole of your foot. You feel any quality of softness through your left foot. And how about the right foot? Any sense of softness through your right foot? And don't worry if the quality doesn't arise straight away. Just feeling and sensing and allowing what is. Feeling both the left and the right sole of the feet. And now, can you feel your whole body as it rests here in this shape? Whole body, the whole physical form. Sensing into the quality of weight through your whole body containing all the elements to maintain the physiology and the structure and the support. Feeling the weight of that. So heavy that it imprints itself on the ground. Feeling the shape of that imprint, the weight of the body. And how about connecting into the lightness of the body? Any sense of lightness through the body, as if the body was hardly touching the ground, light as a feather. And transitioning back into the sense of heaviness through your body, heaviness through your bones, through the head, body heavy. And then again, lightness, lightness of skin, lightness of lungs. Connecting into the sense of lightness in your body. Now feeling neither heaviness nor lightness. This perfect balance between the two, neither heavy or light. Perfectly balanced. You connect into any qualities of hardness in your body, the hardness of the bones, like the hardness in your elbows, hardness in your chin bone or your heels. Tuning into that quality of hardness. Where do you feel it present in your body? Not strain or tension, but hardness. Hardness of the bone, hardness of the fingernails. How about sensing for any qualities of softness in your body, softness of your cheek, softness of your fingertips, softness of your belly. Sensing into your entire physical form to feel neither hardness or softness. And feeling your breath as it breathes your body. And reviewing the difference of quality as you inhale and expand the body as to when you exhale and the body condenses. The difference in feeling in the body as the body is full, and a sense of emptiness as you exhale. This lovely continual dance between expansion and condensing. And perhaps sensing a very subtle quality of neither full nor empty residing in the background of your breath, the backdrop of your breathing. This quality of emptiness and fullness simultaneously. That still ground that your inhale arrives out of and your exhale dissolves back into. Perhaps sensing that ground as whole, as harmonious. You might imagine that if sensing it isn't present right now, and as you feel again into your entire physical shape, your entire being as it rests here, sensing into what is present for you personally. And as you review your body again, just like you did at the beginning of your practice today, reflecting on whether there is even a very minute or subtle moving towards a sense of balance today. And if so, in what way? How does that feel for you? Perhaps any heaviness in energy or exhaustion in energy has slightly changed or evolved. Perhaps the tension that you may have noticed in a part of your body has decreased, maybe changed completely. Whatever is present for you, to be with it with compassion, with gentleness. As you start to bring some movement back into your body again, you might just rub the fingertips together, feel that softness of your skin. And in your own way, in your own time, bringing some natural movements into your body again, but staying present with how that movement feels. And do take your time to transition. Well, just close this practice to end the recording, but we can stick around and connect in at the end if you wish. So namaste to you all. May this practice serve you and bring harmony to your whole being. And may you take that intention of making inner harmony your greatest priority throughout your day today and perhaps throughout your week. Namaste.